Good evening, Shana Tova. If you will take your seats. Good evening as we begin to welcome in this solemn day. And before we get started, if there are any, throughout our service, any younger people, younger folk in the service who might need to take a break, I just want to let you know that out in Kaplansky Center and in the library, there are some quiet projects that are out there that you can do. They will also be out there tomorrow morning as well. As with most of our Holy Day services, a reminder that yes, there's a lot of up and down that happens during our services. If you need to remain seated or need to sit down at some point, please do not hesitate to do so. And it is now an honor to invite forward to our Bima, Cheryl Bauer and Lindsay Bauer-Gravitt to lead us in our candle blessings, which can be found on page 9.
Is the lamp of God, searching out what lies within us. Guided by the flame of conscience, on this sacred night we search for truth. Shine your light upon us as we strive to serve you. May we find safety in your faithful love. We light the flame of healing and forgiveness. On this atonement night, we give thanks for love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel yom haKippurim. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on Yom Kippur. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, giving us life, upholding the life within us, and bringing us to this time.
We turn now in our prayer books to page 14, and if you are able, I ask you please to rise. And we read responsively. Yom Kippur, the Jewish people's festival of the soul, and Kol Nidre, its sacred portal, a night of deep emotions, a night, as the psalmist wrote, to rejoice with trembling.
We rejoice at the sound of Kol Nidre, rhythmic words of grace, vows, oaths, and promises to God fail to keep.
We tremble at the melody, music of spiritual amazement. It fills us with awe as we stand before God and Torah. We tremble, for tonight we confess our flaws, admit our imperfection, and acknowledge a power far beyond our understanding. We tremble, for we find that our ideals are far greater than our ability. Our promises surpass our might.
We rejoice in the freedom that is Kol Nidre's true gift, the freedom to begin a new year without fear or failure, inspired to be God's creation.
We tremble because we are mortal. We rejoice in our gratitude for life. May be seated. And we invite the officers of our congregation to join us on the bema, and we ask everyone to please rise.
Or zaru al tzadik, Yisrael simcha. Or zaru al tzadik, Yisrael simcha. O zaru al tzadik, Yisrael simcha. Or zaru al tzadik, Yisrael simcha. Or zaru al tzadik, Yisrael simcha. O zaru al tzadik, Yisrael simcha. Beshiva shel mala, ובשיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנא מתירין להתפלל עם העבריינים.
Kol Nidre, all vows, resolves, and commitments, vows of abstinence and terms of obligation, sworn promises and oaths of dedication that we promise and swear to God and take upon ourselves from the Day of Atonement until the next Day of Atonement. May it find us well. We regret them, and for all of them we repent. Let all of them be discarded and forgiven, abolished and undone. They are not valid, and they are not binding. Our vows shall not be vows, our resolves shall not be resolves, and our oaths, they shall not be oaths.
Kol Nidre Vesare Achrame Vechoname Vechinoye Vechinoeseh Ushevut Yinerarana Dindorno Pana Hudiacharimena Vedia Sarana Anavshatana Dinardarno Hudishtivana Ude acharimna Vedara sarana Al nafshatana Miyom Kippurim Ad Yom Kippurim Aleinu Letofa Kol ve'on, kol on, yon sharon, yan sharon, yan sharon, shvigen, shviten, beterin, omevotalin, lo sheririn, lo kayamin, nidrano. Sarna la esare ushvatana
All shall be forgiven, the entire community of Israel and the stranger who lives in their midst, for all have gone astray in error. And Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now, in keeping with your boundless love. And God responded, I forgive as you have asked. And we remain standing and continue on page 22 with the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
We turn to page 24 and read together in the Hebrew of Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, b'chochma poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna mishaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom mevi layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzevaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. On page 26, we read together in the English, Love beyond all space and time, your love enfolds your people Israel. We receive it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and rise up and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the very essence of our life, ours to ponder and study all our days. May we never lose or be unworthy of your love. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, for you are blessed, the one who loves your people, Yisrael. Page 28.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated as we chant Ve'ahavta, beginning on page 30 and continuing on page 32.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך בנפרדת בם בשבתך בביתך וברכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. The top of page 32. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם כראשים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
On page 39, at the top of the page, we read together in English. Our sages taught it is proper to mention the exodus from Egypt in our morning prayers and also at night. We celebrate the going out from Egypt in the morning light, full of confidence and vigor as we enter the new day. But in the evening, weary from the day's exertions, cast down and fearful at the coming of the night, what can the Exodus teach us then? Our nighttime prayer brings hope and trust in the future, as God did not abandon our people long ago. Through the long, dark night of exile, so the Holy One will be with us in the time to come. To stand by the one you love, that is the true essence of faithfulness, the meaning of emunah. So it is written in the Psalms, to proclaim your kindness in the morning and your faithfulness in the nights. Sing with joy in the mornings of your life, when light surrounds you and the world seems beautiful and good, and in the evenings of your life, when you dwell in sorrow and the world seems dark, do not despair. Page 40.
מי כמוך באלים, אדוני, מי כמוך נעדר בקודש, נורות עילות עושה פארת. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, סיירי ענו ואמרו, מי כמוך בהרים, אדוני, מי כמוך נעדר בקודש, נורות עילות עושה Tiferet Adonai Himloch Le'olam Va'ed.
On page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu Malkeinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives, be our shield, make us stronger than the enemies we face, illness and war, famine and sorrow, and stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety as on wings, for you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. Together, you are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us that we may come home in peace, now until the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed One, you spread over us a canopy of peace, a shelter of shalom over all Israel, your people, and over Jerusalem.
Al kol eile, shmor na li Eli hatov, al hadvash ve'al ha'oketz, al hamar ve'hamatok, al natakor natua, al tishkach et hatikva, hashiveni ve'ashuva, el haaretz hatova. For all these, please God, grant a blessing of protection for the honey, for the bee sting, for the bitter, for the sweet. Please do not uproot what's been planted. Do not forget our hopes and dreams. Return me, lead me, and I will return to this good land. Al Kol Eile, by Israeli singer Naomi Shemer, is part of the soundtrack, or today we'd say the playlist, of my childhood. Shemer's song is an ode to the land of Israel, and her words speak to the complexities of life, recognizing that both bitter and sweet exist in the same moment. If you will remember what I said on Rosh Hashanah, things are never just black and white. There are many shades of gray. And it is the same here, both bitter and sweet. They coexist on the continuum, and our goal is to find the blessing that lies between them. The goal is to keep moving forward, even on the days when the bitter is stronger than the sweet, recognizing that we will find our equilibrium, our balance once again. Naomi Shemer's words have particular meaning on Yom Kippur as we focus on return. This is the one day on our calendar when we stop and take stock of our lives. We take time to think about who we are and what is important. Teshuvah, shuv, is all about returning to ourselves, returning to our purpose, returning to God, to Torah, and hashiveni ve'ashuva el haaretz, as the song says, return to the land. The beauty of music is that for us, we can interpret what a return to the land means. As for some of us, it may be a physical return, but it doesn't have to be. It can simply be spiritual, a reminder that we Jews are forever connected to the land of Israel. This year, 5783, we celebrate the 75th anniversary of the founding of the State of Israel. For some, this anniversary celebrates a miraculous milestone, a dream that came to fruition after millennia of hardship and sorrow. While for others, this anniversary is fraught with complexity, with lots of questions, like how one can celebrate a country stuck in a painful, difficult 55-year conflict with no end in sight. This is the bitter and the sweet, the complexity that is Israel. And this year, my hope is that for each one of us, with faith and with trust, that we will return to the land, finding a personal connection that speaks to who we are and enables us to give voice to this milestone. Remember that old joke, 2 Jews, 3 opinions? We Jews are not a monolith, except for maybe Moses and the initial revelation at Mount Sinai. I'm not sure that we have ever had full agreement on anything. And this is celebrated in our tradition. For some Jews, Israel is our promised land. This connection is acknowledged all the time in our tradition. We direct our prayers and bury our loved ones with their feet pointed in the direction of Jerusalem. One of the many, many reasons we break a glass at Jewish weddings is to commemorate the destruction of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. We include prayers for the state of Israel in our daily blessings. And next time you are at summer camp or a youth group event, read the translation of Birkat Hamazon, the blessing after we eat. It is filled with imagery of the land of Israel. And one need just visit Israel and watch a tour guide pull out his or her guidebook, the Hebrew Bible, to see the rootedness of Israel in our history. You are literally walking the Bible when you are in Israel. For some Jews, like Theodor Herzl, Israel is not about a promise between God and the Jewish people. It is safety. In the late 1800s, he recognized the need for a Jewish state. Herzl's initial answer to the anti-Semitism that he faced growing up in Vienna was assimilation. He believed if Jews abandoned their distinctive ways and assimilated into the people among who they were living, then Jews would be left alone. But it wasn't until he was living in Paris as a journalist covering the Dreyfus affair, in which a young French Jewish military officer was falsely accused of treason. It was then that Herzl realized that it didn't matter how much one assimilated. If you were a Jew, you were a Jew and would always be a target for people's hatred. Herzl came to the conclusion that the only solution to anti-Semitism was for Jews to have a state of their own. Though Herzl was not the first person to imagine a Jewish state, even Napoleon in 1799, and he's not a Jew, had considered establishing a Jewish state in the ancient lands of Israel. But Herzl was the one who organized and brought together the first Zionist conference in 1897, where Jews from all walks of life, Orthodox Jews to atheists, businessmen to students, who came together, as Herzl declared, to lay the foundation stone for the house which will become the refuge of the Jewish nation. For Herzl and the Jews of Europe, the dream of Israel meant the dream of living safely on their own terms as Jews. And for some, Israel is simply an amazingly cool modern place. Israel is underpraised for all the amazing things that it does and contributes to the world. Israel is a leader in worldwide technology and innovation. Israel now gets 55% of its domestic water from desalination, taking it from the Mediterranean and treating it through reverse osmosis, making it drinkable, turning one of the world's driest countries into a water giant. And if you're driving the streets of St. Louis, even if you are using Google Maps, thank Israel for Waze, which Google acquired and brought into its own platform. From water to Waze to pill cameras and Space IL, Israel is constantly innovating. Israel is a world leader in humanitarian aid. So often, Israel is the first to respond to crises around the globe, offering and sending aid in the form of doctors, nurses, search and rescue workers, whatever is needed at a moment's notice. And Israel grants freedoms to its citizens of all religions and is a haven for activism and justice amid a hostile neighborhood. Unfortunately, in the news and social media, the driving narrative that is repeatedly stressed about Israel is the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. Yes, there is a conflict. Yes, it is difficult and complicated, the bitter and the sweet. And while Israel shares in both the responsibility and the consequences of this conflict, Israel is not solely responsible for it. Can and should Israel do better and end this conflict? Yes, but it will take more than just Israel to creatively end it. Sadly, there are many people, Jews included, who demonize Israel, calling it an apartheid state and supporting the BDS boycott, sanctions, and divestment movement, and those who call out Israel at every turn for everything it does. But their goal is not to have Israel better itself or to improve. Their end goal is the end of Israel and the creation of one state. Those who demonize Israel are getting louder and louder. For many young Jews, the rallying cries against Israel on college campuses are unsettling. They are hearing Israel equated with colonialism, oppression, and genocide. The conflict and plight of the Palestinians is equated with the oppression of native peoples and others oppressed around the world. And there is no room for nuance or the recognition that not every story of peoplehood or the struggle for peoplehood fits into the same box or the same narrative. So many young Jews are questioning their understandings and their own narratives surrounding Israel. Questioning is not the problem. In Judaism, we value questioning. Questions allow us to seek answers and to wrestle with ideas. But those who demonize Israel are not interested in discussions. There is no room for Israel in their world. And so for these young Jews, what's left is to hide or discard their own personal beliefs about Israel. And more often than not, this even means hiding their Jewish identity to feel safe. Anti-Israel sentiment on college campuses has dangerously veered into anti-Semitism. It is okay not to have all the answers when someone asks about Israel. It's complicated. It's 100% okay to disagree with the Israeli government and hope that they do better. And it is imperative that we insist in every conversation about Israel that the starting point must be Israel has a right to exist. Otherwise, as I said last week, end the conversation. There is no point discussing Israel if both parties cannot at least agree that Israel has the right to exist. We cannot let others define Israel for us. We cannot let others diminish Israel in our eyes. We cannot give up on Israel. Hashiveni ve'ashuva el haaretz. We must renew our connection, find our voice, our own narrative as to why Israel matters to us. For this reason, in commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the founding of the State of Israel, our UH theme for this year is Kolot Yisrael, Voices of Israel. We will explore the many Jewish and non-Jewish voices who make up the land of Israel, as well as the many voices of Jews around the world, to help us better understand the complexities and the blessings of our homeland. Understanding Israel starts with education. To understand the current realities, we must know the history. This can be done by reading books, watching documentaries, hearing scholars, and by engaging with Israel and Israelis. For the past 5 years, we're now in our 6th, we have been blessed at UH to welcome into our family some amazing young Israelis through the Shin Shin program. Yuval, Lear, Guy, Donna, Roe, and now Inbar have shared and are sharing Israel with us. We've had the incredible opportunity through their eyes to be up close and personal with Israel, with the IDF and the life of an Israeli soldier. When we hear stories and see the news, it is no longer impersonal, as our family and our children have and are serving on the front lines. If you hear about something on the news and have a question, ask. You can ask me, you can ask Cantor Eicher, Rabbi Reinhardt. Lee said you could ask him, and you can even ask Inbar. You can reach out to Yuval, Lear, Guy, Donna, and Roe. And if you do not have their contact information, they handed out magnets, I am happy to share it with you. Do not be afraid to ask questions, to seek answers, even if those questions are difficult. I have found that most Israelis don't shy away from difficult conversations. They welcome them. And beyond our Shin Shinim, it is actually quite easy to engage with Israelis via social media. From Twitter to Instagram and even TikTok, there are Israelis ready to engage in conversation and to share their stories. And I'm not just talking about Jewish Israelis. There are more and more Israelis from Arab, Christian, and Muslim families who are speaking out about their love and appreciation for their home, Israel. Are they critical of Israel? Absolutely. And they are unwavering Zionists who believe that Israel has the right to exist and believe that their lives are better because they live in Israel. Many of these young Israelis are working within Israeli society to build bridges between Arab and Jewish citizens of Israel. Yosef Haddad is one such young Israeli. He is CEO of Together Vouch for Each Other, an organization which brings Israeli Arabs, Christians, Muslims, Bedouin, and Druze who want to bring about change in the Arab sector of Israeli society. Yosef, who grew up in Nazareth, saw his Jewish friends getting drafted into the IDF and decided that he too wanted to serve his country. When he began his military service, It was the first time that he learned about the Arab-Israel conflict. In the Arab school system, he did not learn the Israeli national anthem, nor did he learn about the wars of 1948, 1967, or the Yom Kippur War of 1973. He did not even learn about the Holocaust. Yosef said in a recent article, "They say Israel is an apartheid country, yet Arab officers in the IDF give orders to Jewish soldiers. One of my commanders was an Arab. The captain of the Israeli national soccer team is a Muslim, and 13 members of the Knesset are Muslim, and they speak badly about Israel all the time." Look up Yosef on Instagram and Twitter. There is much he can teach all of us about Israel. And finally, I'm going to put in a plug for visiting Israel. You can join me on the trip we have going this spring in late April and early May. There is something simply magical about experiencing Israel firsthand, walking the Bible, seeing Judaism as the norm being lived 24/7 and not just by religious Jews. If you didn't know, Israel shut down at 2:30 Tuesday time. Even their airspace is closed. There are no flights coming in and out until Yom Kippur is over. Israel has shut down. And taking in the balagan, the craziness that is Israeli society, to me, it always feels like coming home. One cannot truly understand the complexity that is Israel from afar. You have to experience it, be on the ground, and engage with it. You have to be able to hear the Kolot Yisrael, voices of Israel. Herzl said, "If you will it, it is no dream." To be a Jew is to have faith. And faith does not mean seeing the world as you would like it to be. It means seeing the world exactly as it is, never giving up the hope, tikva, that we can make it better by the way we live. Israel isn't perfect, but what country is? Israel constantly lives in the tension between the bitter and the sweet, and we must find the beautiful blessings that abound in the in-between. We must find ways to support Israel and Israelis like our Shinshinim, Yosef Haddad, and others who are pushing against the bitter, bringing Israel closer to the time when it will know the sweetness of peace. Hashiveni ve'ashuva el haaretz. We must renew our connection, find our voice, our own narrative as to why Israel matters to us. Al kol eleh, for all these in this new year, please God, grant a blessing of protection for the honey, for the bee sting, for the bitter, for the sweet. Do not forget our hopes and our dreams. Return me, lead me, and I will return to this good land. Amen. And we turn now in our prayer books to page 46 as we rise for the Amida.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agite hilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 48. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchok ve'Elohei Yaakov. Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Ve'anora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'avo. Zochreinu lechayim, melech chofetz b'chayim, v'chotvenu b'sefer hachayim, lema'ancha Elohim chayim, melech ozer u'moshiach u'magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Page 50. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Ve'rofeh Horim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umidomeroch, Melech Memit, Umechayeh, Umatz Mi'at Yeshua, Michamocha El Harachamim, Zocher Yitzurav Lechayim Berachamim, Ve'ne'eman Atah Lachayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. The top of page 53. Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yehalalucha Selah. Please be seated.
Still on page 53. How do we sense God's holiness? Through awe. And so, in your holiness, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence. Let us be witness of wonder. Perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive, we bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for connection with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. Awe-inspiring is your creation, all-encompassing your transcendent name. On page 58, we read together in the English. You and you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation, upon Mount Zion, home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, Adonai will reign eternally, your God, Zion, for all generations. Hallelujah. You are holy, your name is awe. There is nothing divine beyond you. As the prophet Isaiah taught, the source of all might is exalted through justice, the God of holiness made holy through righteousness. Baruch atah Adonai, HaMelech HaKadosh. Blessed are you, Adonai, holy, sovereign. Page 60.
V'chartanu mikol ha'amim ahavta otanu, v'ratzita banu, v'romamtanu mikol harshanot, v'kirashetanu b'mitzvotecha, v'keravtanu makenu la'avodatecha, ושמך הגדול והקדוש עלינו קראת.
Page 63. Like smoke above the altar, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. As Israel once came to you with offerings from the flock, so we bring to you the offerings of our mouth, not lip service, but heartfelt prayer. So the prophet taught, "Return, O Israel, to Adonai your God, for you have fallen because of your sin. Take words with you and return to Adonai." Together, accept the words we set before you, awkward and imperfect as they are, our hesitant questions, our corrosive doubts. Accept, too, our silences, our thoughts that rise in the stillness, our faith that coheres for a fragile instant, then dissipates like smoke above the altar. Page 66. Our God and God of our forebears, pardon our failings on this day of atonement. Erase our misdeeds. See beyond our defiance. For Isaiah said in your name, "It is I alone, who wipe away your defiant acts. This is my essence. I shall pay no heed to your errors." And the prophet said, "As a cloud fades away, as mist dissolves into air, so your wrongs and mistakes shall be gone. I will wipe them away. Come back to me, that I may redeem you." As you said to Moses, "For on this day atonement shall be made for you to purify you from all your wrongs, and pure you shall be in the presence of Adonai." On page 71, we read responsively in the middle of the page. On this night of atonement, grant us, God, a sense of your presence as we call upon your name. Speak your hopeful message. Purify and strengthen our noble strivings and cleanse us of all our unworthy deeds. Help us to be loyal to the heritage we share. Draw us near to Torah in wisdom and in faith. Strengthen our devotion. Keep alive our faith in righteousness and truth. Bless us with hopes to uplift our daily lives and keep steadfast our courage and our resolve at all times. On this night of atonement, help us, God, to be worthy of your presence as we call upon your name. Continuing together on page 74, God who is ours, God of all generations, to you we are grateful forever, rock and protector of our lives. Your saving power endures from age to age. We thank you and tell the tale of your praise, your power in our lives, your caring for our souls, the constant miracle of your kindness, morning, noon, and night. We call you goodness, for your compassion never ends. We call you mercy, for your love has no limit. We call you hope, now and for all time. Continuing on page 76, and for all these gifts, God of majesty, may your name come to be blessed and praised, our gratitude a daily offering until the end of time. Inscribe your covenant partners for a life of goodness, and may all life resound with gratitude and faith in praise of your name. God, you free us and strengthen us. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lacha na'eh lehodot. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose goodness deserves thanks and praise. In this moment, we pause for a quiet meditation. You may continue by reading the pages 78 through 81, or at this moment, of course, you may take the time to say the prayers of your own heart. Please pray silently.
We continue now with Shalom Rav on page 78. Shalom Rav al Yisrael lamechok tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael ובכל שעה בשלומך. בספר חיים ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה ניזכר ונקוטב לפניך. אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל לחיים טובים, לחיים טובים ולשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
We continue now on page 82 with our vidui, our confession. If you would all please rise. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu tavo lefanecha tefilatenu. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong.
Ashamenu
Ashamnu,
Bakadenu Gazalenu Dibarnu Dofi Efinu Vehirshanu Zadenu Hamasenu Tafalnu Shaker Eya Atznu Ra Ki salvenu Latsenu Maradenu Niatsenu Sararnu Avinu Pashanu Sararnu Kishinu Oref Rashanu Shichatanu Teavenu Ta'inu Titadnu.
We are seated and we continue reading together at the top of page 83. When I was young and learned the alphabet, life was open to me. A was full of aspiration, B was for beauty, C for confidence, and D for dreams. And so on through the list, no fewer than 26 opportunities, 26 possibilities. And yet I fear that with the passage of time, I've squandered them, creating instead A's of apathy, B's of brusqueness, and C's of coarseness. Help me then to return to that innocence. Let the letters be letters once again, and let them rise to the heavens and form into the words that you know I wish to say. And we turn to page 84.
Sarnu mitzvotecha mibishatecha tovim v'lo shalva lanu ve'ata tzadik al kol abaleinu ki ata asita v'anachnu hirshanu.
Secrets of the universe and the secrets of the human heart. You know and understand us, for you examine our inner lives. Nothing is concealed from you, nothing hidden from your sight. Eternal One, our God and God of our ancestors, we pray that this be your will. Forgive all our wrongs. Pardon us for every act of injustice. Help us atone for all our moral failures. And we turn to page 86. And as we come to our Vidui Rabbah, our long confession, in just a moment I'm going to ask you to stand, and this is where we get to the up and downs and the really long standing. Why up and down and why standing? As we move through this long list of the al-chaitz of the confessions, some of us may recognize in the words things for which we need to confess, and some of us may recognize in the words things that we haven't done. And yet in our tradition, we rise and stand as a community so that no one may be singled out and no one embarrassed for what they may or may not have done in this year. And we give strength to one another as we stand together before God and offer these confessions. And so now I'm going to ask you please to rise if you are able. And we will read through these al-chaitz, the first line in the Hebrew and then to the English. Al-chait shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, and harm we have caused in your world through the words of our mouths. Al-chait shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by hardening our hearts, and harm we have caused in your world through careless speech. Al-chait shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. Al-chait shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through insincere apologies, and harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or neighbor. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through violence and abuse, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business. Ve'al kulam Elohas slichot, salach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. Page 88. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by losing self-control. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through greed and exploitation. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through cynicism and scorn, and the harm we have caused in your world through arrogant behavior. Page 90. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by hating without cause, and harm we have caused in your world through offensive speech. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, ve'al kulam Elohas slichot, salach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Vehar kulam Elo aslichot salach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu vehar kulam Elo aslichot salach lanu mechal lanu salach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu.
You may be seated, and we turn to page 98. Hear our call, Adonai, our God. Show us compassion. Accept our prayer with love and goodwill. Take us back, Adonai. Let us come back to you. Renew our days as in the past.
Shema kolenu Adonai Eloheinu hu sfirachem aleinu v'kabel berachamim uveratzon et tefiratenu Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashufa Chadei shamenu kekedem Amarenu hazina Adonai bina hagigeinu Shema kolein Adonai Eloheinu chus v'rachem hareinu v'kabel berachamim uveratzon et tefiratenu Al tashlichenu milfanecha ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו, אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה, ככלות כוחנו אל תעזבנו. שמע קולנו אדוני אלוהינו, חוס ורחם עלינו, וקבל ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו, את תפילתנו. אל תעזבנו אדוני אלוהינו, אל תרחק ממנו, כי לך אדוני הוחלנו, אתה תענה אדוני אלוהינו. שמע קולנו אדוני אלוהינו, חוס ורחם עלינו, וקבל ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו, את תפילתנו.
We turn to page 112. Avinu Malkeinu, illumine for us the path of our life. Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we find the strength to take the road less traveled by? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we come to know the purpose of our existence? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we learn not to live life in vain? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we get out of our indifference? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we distinguish between truth and falsehood? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we find the answers to our questions? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we gird ourselves with strength to seek answers? Avinu Malkeinu, be gracious to us, answer us, empower us, and give us courage, for the answers are both in you and with you. If you would all please rise. And we continue on page 114. Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, chatanu lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, chamol aleinu ve'al olalenu v'tapenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our families. Avinu Malkeinu, kale deve v'cherev v'ra'av me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, kale kotsar umastin me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, kotvenu b'sefer chayim tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, chadesh aleinu shana tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, male yadenu mi birchotecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu, harem keren mishichecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption. Avinu Malkeinu, na al tishvenu rekam milfanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing. Avinu Malkeinu, kabel barachamim uvratzon et tefilatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu lema'an shemecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh lema'ancha im lo lema'anenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours. Avinu Malkeinu, ein lanu melech ele ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, petach sha'arei shamayim litfilatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, shema kolenu, chus verachem aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. Treat us with tender compassion. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu va'anenu, kien banu ma'asim, asei imanu, tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'anenu, ki ein banu masim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'anenu, ki ein banu masim.
We remain standing and continue on page 116.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא זמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. The middle of page 118. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
And before we conclude, a couple of announcements. If we do have any school administrators who are joining us this evening, principals, superintendents, welcome. If you are here, welcome. We are so glad that you are with us. I do know that we will be having some join us tomorrow morning, and it is always very special and important that they are here to be present and for our students and families to see them. Tomorrow morning, we will continue at 9 a.m. with our children's service, which will happen in our school hallway. Our morning service will begin at 10 a.m., and the early memorial service will immediately follow that. And tomorrow, during the day, following those services and in the in-between, we have some moments of mindfulness. There is singing bowls meditation with Marita Shaw that will be at 2 p.m. down in the youth lounge. And there will be a discussion on grief and loss with Michelle Hastings, which will take place at 2:30 in the library. And at 3 o'clock here in the main sanctuary, we will have a dramatic reading and a discussion of Jonah, and it is a conversation between God and Jonah after the events in the book of Jonah. And I hope you'll join us for any and all of those. And then our afternoon memorial concluding service, Nila, which all run together, begin at 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon in our main sanctuary. And a reminder as we look ahead that Sukkot begins on Sunday evening. Hopefully you've had a chance to see the beginnings of our beautiful new sukkah, and that will be 6:30 on Sunday evening in our parking lot. And our annual Yom Kippur public service announcement. If you take medication that requires food and drink, please make sure that you are taking your medication and make sure that you are eating and drinking with your medication. If you are not feeling well, or if your doctor has said, do not fast during Yom Kippur, then please do not fast. God does not want a fast that might land you in the hospital at the end of the day. So please, the most important thing is to take care of yourself and to take care of your body. And we turn now in our prayer books to page 121. This holy night concludes with memory. Our last thoughts always are of those we have lost. We miss them especially tonight, yearning for their presence at our side. The service we have shared once was theirs. They spoke and sang the ancient words. They prayed, repented, and yearned for better lives, as we have done. Flawed in their deeds, imperfect in their faith, they still drew strength from their tradition as we seek fortitude in ours. What was good and beautiful in their lives once gave us joy and now inspires us to reach higher. The knowledge that they loved us deeply brings comfort to our hearts. So we light candles of remembrance and gratitude, and we speak this timeless truth. Zichronam livracha. Their memory is a blessing now and forever. We pray that their goodness will live on in our lives, planting seeds of kindness and hope for generations to come. We turn to page 122 as we rise for the mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal ve'yit kadash shemei Rabbi, bi'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayed dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman karir v'imru, amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Balmei Almaya. Yit Barach Ve'yish Tabach Ve'yit Pa'ar Ve'yit Romam Ve'yit Naseh. Ve'yit Hadar Ve'yit Haleh Ve'yit Halal Shemei Dekudashar Barichu. Leila Ul'ela Mikol Birchata Ve'shirata. Tushbechata Ve'nechemata. Damiram Be'alma Ve'imru, amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru, amen. And we turn to page 126.
Adon olam asher malach beterem kol yetzir nivra את נעשה וחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשיר לו להכבירה, בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חבלי בעת סהרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו אפקיד רוחי, ועת תישן ואהירה, ועם רוחי גוויעתי, אדוני לי ולא
And to those who are fasting, we say to you, Tzom Kol, an easy fast. And we say to all, Gamar Chatima Tova, tomorrow at the end, may we all be sealed for good. Shana Tova.